My family treated anger in a very good way, in my opinion. In terms of punishment, my mother, because she's a small person, she would grab my ear and she would twist it. And the longer that I would be disobedient, she would twist it further and further. And no one can ever understand it unless you are, I think it's a Filipino thing,
okay,
where you have a mother that does that and you give her full respect after that. The understanding of what anger is as an emotion, I think, is really quite important, because I wouldn't understand what a punishment would be if I did something wrong. But I did see two different contrasts between the two.
Well, I grew up in a Latin family and we're all super fiery, and we speak first and then we think later. Anger in our family comes on very quickly, but it disappears very quickly. And yeah, that's something I've had to work on in our marriage, I think. And that's something that you were able to help me with just toning down the fiery passion. So
that's a good word.
I think I was really blessed to grow up in a family where conflict was resolved really well, and it was modeled to me with my parents really well. If they would be upset with each other, they would never really take it out in a screaming match in front of us kids, and they would always find time to talk it over in private. And with us kids, if we were upset or if they were upset, we would talk it over. The passion is there, the fieriness is there, but we would cool down quickly, and then we would always talk about it, which was really helpful. And that's one thing that I'm really grateful for my family teaching me, I guess. And that's one thing I guess I've brought into our marriage, where you don't really hold a grudge. You get angry, but you get over it and you talk about it. And that really helps to resolve the conflict between you and the other person.
My family, to be honest, is probably not a good example, because my mum and my dad split when I was 3. And so there had always been conflict in my family from the very beginning, all the way till I left home. The way that they resolved it really was just to kind of walk away. And I guess in that instance, I have brought that into our marriage too, because I'm the complete opposite of you. When it comes to conflict, I like to avoid it as much as I can, whereas you like to be front and center.
Tackle it head on.
Yeah. Now, my mum and my stepfather did things a lot differently as well, so I had them to look at, and the way that they resolved it was maybe have one person who would blow up a little bit, the other person would bring them away, and then they'll talk about it, and then maybe about, half an hour later, everything is fine.
And being married as well, you have two completely different personalities. You learn pretty quickly how someone gets angry, how someone responds to the other person being angry, how you resolve conflict.
I think with forgiveness, my wife does this a lot better than I do, purely because of the fact that when she gets angry, or if there's some type of conflict, again, she kind of like a volcano in some cases, everything comes all at once, but then it just
cools down quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And so really, no matter what it is, I kind of know in the back of my head that she's ready after a few minutes to just, say sorry, to really just get back to things that, as they were before. Whereas I'm very different. I think that I have forgiven her in my heart, but then I look at myself and I look at the actions that I'm maybe portraying to my wife, and it doesn't seem to be 100% forgiveness in those actions. And so I've really tried to learn how to forgive quickly. And you've really taught me how to do that. But forgiveness is a really important part of our conflict management. The biggest fights that we have, if there isn't a sense of forgiveness immediately, it can really just become a snowball effect, and it can get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah.
I think one of the most important things that we had to learn about forgiveness when we got married was learning each other's forgiveness styles as well. So they have these 5 love languages, but they also have the 5 languages of apology as well. And the way I like to be apologized to and receive forgiveness was very different to the way that Dan likes to receive forgiveness. And so knowing that about him just helps us to forgive a lot more sooner and just completely get rid of it. And yeah,
definitely.